Hi, I'm going to talk to you about files and filing today. As you can see, files come in a wide variety of shapes and sizes. We have round files, half-round files, flat files, needle files, and specialty files. We also have files like the barrette. Notice the barrette file has no teeth on the back, only teeth on one side. This is going to allow you to file certain shapes without worrying about removing material from areas you don't want to. Another specialty file is this flat file. Notice there's no teeth on this edge. It has teeth on all other sides, including this edge here. What that allows you to do is it allows you to go into a very tight corner and decide, do I want to remove material from this side and this side at the same time, which might allow you to true up that corner, or you could flip the file so that the smooth side is present and remove only material from the bottom side here. So now we have a choice. Either work that corner to get it nice and square, or remove just material along one broad plane. That's really helpful because a lot of times if we're not watching, you wind up getting a groove from that side by accidentally pushing too much against it, and then we have to go back in. Files come in a variety of cuts. They start with coarse, like this 0 here, and you can see that stamped on the blade. That means there's fewer teeth per inch along the length of the file. Here we have a 2, and this flat file is a 4. The higher the number, the finer the file cut. The lower the number, the coarser the file is going to be. Files should also have handles. Take a look if I don't have a handle. I'm going to hold the file in the proper way as if it did have a handle, and look how much of the file is being taken up by my grip. Not only is that inefficient, but over time this is going to hurt my wrist holding it this way. So if we have a handle, I'm going to grip it properly. Now take a look. I get all of the use out of this file. My finger is resting on the back the way it's supposed to be, and I have a nice, comfortable grip. If you don't feel like buying your own store-bought handle, you can accommodate some of your files with things like a golf ball. Just drill in. Be careful doing that. Golf balls have different materials for cores. You can also use a lathe to make your own handles. And there's also air hardening putty that you can use to wrap your handles. So all of these are available, including versatile handles for needle files. So you can see that's going to fit my needle files there. Okay, so now we're going to learn how to use a file. The reason why we're going to use a file is to remove all of the marks left by the saw blade and also to shape the metal. So if you want to refine a curve or the form, it's also going to be a way for us to shape and sculpt that metal. So a few things to remember with our file grip, we're going to have a nice firm grip on the back of it using our file handle, and files always cut in the forward stroke. So remember, whenever I'm filing, it's that forward stroke that does the cutting. Now, pick the largest file that you can for the job. For instance, for this outside radius, I want to use a flat file. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick something this size, because if I go left or right, notice it's still on the metal. If I were to pick a smaller file, like this needle file right here, I could easily slip off and wind up scarring my metal. So that's not going to work well. Also, I do not want to use a round file on an outside radius because this can lead to grooving. And you can see that's kind of a sharp edge there. So as I come around, if I edge it, that's really going to cut in very, very quickly. One bad edge stroke will actually do quite a lot of damage. On an inside radius like here, nice shallow one like that, that's where you want to use your half round, or even my needle file would be very appropriate inside here to get into a tight area if that was appropriate for that side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to brace this up against either the wood here or my hand, which is going to become a vise, and that's going to hold it tight, and then I'm going to file. I never want to file against air because this hand moves, the end result is sloppy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to file this for a little bit so we can see the end result. So now we can see that we have this nice file texture going around it, and there we can see the remains of our saw blade. So look at the difference with just that. And I was using a number 4 file, so remember a 0 is coarse, a 6 is very fine, so a 4 is leaning towards the finer side. But look how nice that surface is, and I can take that to sandpaper next. I don't need to go to a finer file. So you can start with a very coarse file, like a 0, and then go up to a 2 or a 4 if you want to before going to your sandpaper grits. How do I know when I'm done filing? Well, what I do is I look for irregularities. And so if I see those irregularities are gone, for instance, if there was a nick there, that means that I'm not done filing. And that's really important to make sure you take all of that out before sanding. I want to have a vise to hold the metal. Now, vices have different materials for jaws. This one has a nice hard plastic. If yours has steel, what you want to do is you want to cover the steel either with a sheet of copper, and you can fold that over the jaw, or some wood blocks, maybe a 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch thick plywood, or you can even use tape and line the jaws. But if you have steel textured jaws, and a lot of the commercial vices do, what's going to happen is when you crank this down nice and tight to hold this, that texture is going to be impressed into your soft metal, and that's going to ruin the surface. So remember to always protect your metal somehow, either with plastic replacement jaws, wood, tape, or sheets of copper. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hold my file on the front and the back. And on the forward stroke, all that work is going to be done. So I hold it at a diagonal to my metal, come flat down, and then I let it glide across. And you get a nice clean cut lift. So flat on, forward stroke does all the work, and you come off flat. Remember to always come on and off the metal perfectly cleanly. If I come on, a lot of people will do this, they're not really paying attention. They hit the metal, then they come off and they rock. So they strike and they rock. And what happens is both of my ends wind up becoming rounded. And you can see that already, just that quickly. Take a look there. That's starting to become rounded just that quickly. So when you come down, you want to be nice and clean, come down flat and come off flat. One last thing, always try and have your metal as deep as you can in the vise. That's going to support soft metal like this. If I come in on metal a little bit aggressively, take a look what happens. That can bend and fold. So by having it in the vise nice and deep, that helps prevent that. It supports the metal, and I don't have to worry about coming in and accidentally bending it like this.